Hello, welcome to a real case study example of how to use lifecycle analysis. I am Mark Knight, Senior Industry Product Expert at AssetWorks. Today, we will start with a brief overview of what you need to prepare before you start your analysis, and then we'll jump right into the case study.
Now, before you start to build a plan, let's look at what data is going to be needed to do this. First, we're going to need capital costs, both in the past and in the future. So understanding what the cost to purchase your existing assets was, as well as what we think the cost will be of these new assets in the future. We're going to use depreciation and lease payments as a capital cost estimate. We're also going to look at our service, maintenance, and repair costs, as well as downtime and energy costs, as these are part of our cost of operation. Additionally, things like resale value and cost to own the asset over time is going to be important, as well as the usage of individual assets, particularly as we look at range on a daily basis and the ability to support the ongoing operations of assets. Now let's talk how this data can be used to help calculate life cycle costs and to build a very efficient transition to your fleet system. So in our case study, we have one of our longtime fleets is a very large last mile fleet that has tens of thousands of vans, as well as a large number of heavy goods trucks, plus some light duty vehicles used in their administrative functions. Now, their goal was to put together a multi-year plan to transition to an EV van fleet. And they wanted to put together a 5-year plan. And they utilized AssetWorks Fleet Focus and CAM Capital Asset Management software. How they used this software was they used CAM to calculate optimal life cycles for each of their categories of assets. So using their historic maintenance and operating costs in Fleet Focus, that data was pulled into CAM and then manipulated into annualized costs for each year of the life in an asset. And that was put together through our lifecycle cost model to help identify optimal replacement terms. Those optimal replacement terms were then assigned to each of the category. And each of those guidelines were then used to estimate when assets will be eligible for replacement. Now, in addition to their existing categories of assets, they created new alternative fuel categories. So where they might have a diesel van, those would be replaced with an EV van. Each of those categories was also then evaluated to determine which categories will be replaced with an alternative fuel vehicle. And in some customers' cases, not only are they using this at the category basis, we're actually looking down at individual assets based on range and duty of each asset. However, this fleet's so large that broad categories would be sufficient. Then they used CAM, the analytics and planning module within CAM, to build a multi-year replacement plan. These were tactical plans for each of the next 5 years, identifying specific assets to be replaced based on their eligibility, and then using the CAM scoring module to rank assets from the highest priority replacement to the least priority. Then they were in situations where assets would not necessarily be scheduled for replacement, but show up in a shop in need of major repairs. They utilized the CAM repair versus replace module to evaluate individual assets and replace them out of their bailment pool of assets held aside for just these scenarios. Using the lifecycle data from CAM, we're able to do a maintenance forecast prediction to look at what the maintenance budgets are and track operational savings over the expected course of this plan implementation. Now, once these plans were all put in place and CAM was utilized to identify the assets, the CAM procurement functionality was used then to order the assets. And those assets were then put into service using the CAM onboarding tool and rolled out into Fleet Focus and then put into daily operation. The outcomes of this study were pretty interesting. They've been able to use CAM to order over 4,000 new assets in 2022. We've been working with them to track their transition to EVs and use the CAM maintenance forecast tool to look at annualized maintenance costs over the life of their ICE vehicles, as well as over the life of their BEV vehicles as they've been in service for now the last 4 years. And what we've been able to illustrate is a 50% reduction in maintenance costs from ICE to EV categories. And more importantly, we're able to identify a 50% reduction in labor required on the new EVs, which is going to have a pretty significant impact in the staffing needs across this organization as they complete their transition to a full EV fleet. In conclusion, why would you consider AssetWorks to help you in putting together your sustainability plan? One, we are one of the largest fleet management software companies in the world. We've got many fleet management specialists like myself that have been in the industry for nearly 30 years that are available to help our customers make their transitions. Our position in the industry is as one of the industry leaders, where other operations look to us for leadership, and we have the best-in-class fleet management software available to you today. So as you look to put together your fleet ecosystem, please consider AssetWorks, and I'll be happy with our team to answer any questions. Thank you.